Hare Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur Prabhupada ki, Shri Premdata Nityananda Prabhu ki, Shri Prem Purushottam Sachinandana Gaura Hari ki, Shri Shri Krishna Balarama Ki, Shri Madhurja Rasa Ganaiti Murti Mahabha Prakash Jagannath Swami ki, Shri Jagannath Shri Baladev Shrimati Subhadra Mai Sudarshan Ju ki, Shri Shri Radha Gopinath Ju ki, Shri Akshaya Tritaya ki, Shri Chandanyata Maha Mahotsava ki, Shri Krishna Balaram Mandir ki, Sankirtan Yajna ki, Gaur Premanande Hari Hari Bol, Samaveda Bhakta Vinda ki. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to Shri Shri Guru and Gauranga. All glories to Shiva Prabhu.
I have to finish by when? When do I have to finish by?
It is by
5 minutes?
actually 8:30.
8:30. Chai. Okay. Goradra Gana Gota Goloruharam Goranga Gura Chama Gopyara Kolpa Briksham Gopala Gada Ratidam Yati Singha Gora Govinda Deshi Kavaram Shatatam Namami. Really? Uttama Adama Uttama Adama Kichuna Bachila Chichiya Tileka Kola Kahe Premananda Hemona Gauranga Hiroya Dhariya Bola Vaja Gauranga Kaha Gauranga Laha Gaurangera Namare Jana Gauranga Bhaje Se Hoya Marakana Re Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Yashaiva Padambuja Bhakti Labhya Prema Bhidana Parama Pumarta Tasmai Jagan Mangala Mangalaya Chaitanya Chandraya Namo Namaste Chaitanya Chandraya Namo Namaste Chaitanya Chandraya Namo Namaste Madgavirapi Gopala Sri Kuryat Kripaya Jadi Tadaiva Sambhaya Pitvaha Rishayustat Priya Janaha Shri Krishna Krishna Chaitanya Sasanatana Rupaka Gopala Raghunatha Brajabala Bapahimam Vancha Kalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhubhya Evacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadha Shivasari Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Nilachala Nivasaya Nityaya Paramatmane Balabhadra Subhadrabhyam Jagannataya Te Namaha Kadaha Chitka Lindita Tavipina Sangita Karabo Mudabiri Narivadana Kamalasva Damadupa Rama Sambhu Brahma Marapati Ganesha Chitapado Jagannatha Swami Noyana Patagami Bhavatume Bolo Jagannatha Swami Noyana Patagami Bhavatu Me. Hare Krishna. So, we're going to speak in English. Please forgive me. I don't understand very much audio. Today we want to speak about a few big subjects in a very short amount of time. Actually, we could probably speak on this for a few weeks. It's a very big subject. And that's Akshya Tritaya, Chandanyatra Festival. And I'd like to say a little something also about Narendra Pukur, Narendra Sarovar, some of the history of that. So the word Akshaya is a compound word in Sanskrit, meaning not. Akshaya means something which is destroyed or something which is lost. So Akshaya means something which is never lost, something which is everlasting, which will never decay. And this is a very special day. Many things are said about Akshaya Tritaya. They say this is the day that both Satya Yuga and Treta Yuga began. Not at the same time. This is the day that Lord Parshuram appeared. This is the day that Matsya Avatar appeared. This is the day that Ganga Ma descended to the earth. This, they say, is the day that Sudama Vipra visited Krishna in Dwarka. This is the day that Yudhishthira Maharaj and the Pancha Pandavas received the Akshaya Patra from Suryadev. This is the day, they say, that Vyasadeva started writing the Mahabharata. This is the day, some say, that Adi Shankar began writing his prayers known as Kankadhara Stotra. This is the day that Kubera is very famous as the god of wealth. This is the day that he got his wealth and his position. This is the day that Annapurna Devi appeared on this world. They say, finally, two things, that this day was the day that Lord Brahma created the universe, and this is the day that barley was created. And so on Akshaya Tritaya, there's a long tradition that we offer barley grains to Krishna on this day. So also on this day is the beginning of Chandanyatra. And here at the Krishna Balaram Mandir, I think we have the second, number 2, most popular Chandanyatra festival in all of Orissa. And number 1 is with Jagannath and Puri. You can't compete with him. Many years ago, our Guru Maharaj was here. We were telling his story yesterday. And early one morning, he called for Chaitanya Chandra Prabhu, who was the temple president then, and a couple of other devotees. And they came to see him, and Guru Maharaj told them that last night I had a dream. And Krishna Balaram came to me and told me that they wanted to have Chandanyatra. And today is Akshaya Tritaya, Guru Maharaj told them. So we should go out and dig some pukur and make a boat, and we'll start Chandanyatra. So that was the beginning of the Chandanyatra festival here at ISKCON Krishna Balaram Mandir. They dug a hole, which is in the place where now there's that fountain, which is where we have our Chandanyatra festival. But in Puri, here we'll have it for 21 days. But in Puri, they have 2 different Chandanyatra festivals. There's a Bahar Chandan, which is 21 days, and they do it Bahar, they do that outside. And then there's a Bitara Chandan, which is 21 days inside of the temple, out of the public view. So this day, which is also known as Ganda Lepan Yatra, it's the day of Ganda Lepana means to smear with some ganda, some fragrant things. This is described in the Skanda Purana, in the Utkal Kanda, where Jagannath told Maharaj Indrajumna, Vaishakasya site pakshe titiyakshaya samnaka tatramam lepayet ganda lepanar atishobhanam. He told Maharaj Indrajumna that on the day known as Akshaya Tritaya, the 3rd day of the waxing moon, the Krishna Paksha, in the month of Vaishak, you should smear me with chandan. with sandalwood paste. And that's also described in Vishnu Dharmottara, Anulepana Mukyam Tu Chandanam Parikirtitam, that on this day we begin smearing the Lord with chandan, sandalwood paste. This is also mentioned in the Narada Purana. Yata Vishnu Samabhishtam Naivedyam Salisambhavam Sukenoktam Puranicha Tata Tulsi Chandanam. It's said that just as the Lord is very fond of Naivedya, which especially with fine rice, in the same way he likes Tulsi Chandanam. He likes chandan mixed with Tulsi. And some Vaishnavas, they put Tulsi leaves, but other Vaishnavas also, they take old Tulsi sticks and they grind that along with the chandan. And that's very, very dear to the Lord. So in Puri, yesterday, the day before Akshya Tritaya, they did an Adivas ceremony and they collect huge amounts of chandan, which is provided by the Raghava Das Mutt there in Puri, and that'll be used there for the next month and a half. And they have a special guard who watches over the sandalwood paste. And then on this day of Akshaya Tritaya, the Chandan Yatra officially begins. And Madan Mohan come out of the temple to, they go in some procession inside of the temple first. They go 3 times around the mandir, and they see what kind of sandalwood paste is made, and then they decorate them with different ornaments, and they paint them with sandalwood paste. And so then after they offer that chandan, then Ramakrishna, Madan Mohan, Lakshmi and Saraswati, they're brought to the Ratna Singhasan. And then on that time, the Gajapati Maharaj, the king of Puri today, he goes and he gives permission to take the Vijay Vigrahas to Narendra Sarovar. And then on Jagannath's behalf, the Pandas, they're given some agyamalas, some garland. That's our system. And then the deities are put in their particular palanquins. And traditionally, they would have some elephant also come out. And so for 21 days, as Bahar Chandan, Madan Mohan, accompanied by Lakshmi and Saraswati, they come out of the temple along with 5 deities of Shiva who are known as the Pancha Pandavas. Interestingly, in the Skanda Purana, it's said that these Pancha Pandava Shivas, who are, Markandeshwar Mahadev, Nilakanteshwar Mahadev, Jambeshwar Mahadev, Kapateshwar Mahadev, and Lokanath Mahadev, thank you. Those 5 deities of Shiva, according to Skanda Purana, are partial manifestations of the Pancha Pandavas, the 5 Pandavas. And so on this day, this evening, Madan Mohan, along with Lakshmi Devi, Krishna and Balaram, and Saraswati, they'll come out being carried in palanquins. And also there'll be the Pancha Pandavas, Shivjis. They'll come along with them. And all the road is very wonderfully decorated, and they bring them to Narendra Sarovar. So sometimes devotees, they ask, what is the special quality of Narendra Sarovar? Because it's not mentioned. There's nothing mentioned about Narendra Sarovar in Skanda Purana, and Brahma Purana, and Padma Purana, different Puranas that speak about Puri and Jagannath. But in the administrative records in the Jagannath Mandir, there's an interesting story that there was one king of the state of Ranpur whose name was Narendra Dev. And this Narendra Dev, he was good friends with the Gajapati, king of Puri. And on one occasion when that Narendra Dev was walking about in the courtyard of his palace, he happened to find a pumpkin seed. And so he got some inspiration, and he gave that to the Sabrakar, the district collector, and he told him that you plant that that pumpkin seed in the name of Jagannath, and whatever pumpkins grow from that, you should offer that to Jagannath. So that pumpkin seed, according to the records of the Jagannath Mandir, ancient records, that pumpkin seed grew for 5 years. Very extraordinary. And it covered an area of 14 acres. And there were hundreds and thousands of pumpkins that were produced. And all of them were sold, and the money that was collected was given to Maharaj Narendra Dev. And then Narendra Dev, remembering that this was meant to be as an offering for Lord Jagannath, he gave that money to the Gajapati king. And the Gajapati Maharaj said, this is such a nice offering, we should do something special, and you should be remembered. And so the two of them decided then they would make a huge tank. And Narendra Sarovar is the biggest tank in Puri, and that was established in the 1300s, maybe 100 years or so, 200 years before the time of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. And according to the Madhula Panji, it was constructed by Maharaj King Bira Nara Singh Dev. And that place is not so far from our ashram. We like going there very much. According to some local traditions, that Jagannath Puri is considered to be non-different from Vrindavan. It's Gupta Vrindavan. That's a very long discussion. But Narendra Sarovar in particular is considered to be non-different than Radhakund. And every year at the time of the Chandan Yatra festival, so many different devas come. And there's one special deity of Hanuman we like to go have darshan of. That's Brahma Jaga Hanuman. Jaga, for those of you who don't know perhaps, Jaga means like a raised platform inside of a temple, or a raised platform inside of a village. So that's the place where Lord Brahman established Hanuman. And Hanuman there, he makes a place for all the different devatas. That Jaga, that's the place where all the devatas come to watch that festival. So there's 16 different bathing ghats, as I recall, around Narendra Sarovar. 14 of them were named after the 14 sons of Maharaj Narendra Dev. And then there's one named after his queen and one named after him. So every day for the next 21 days, Madan Mohan, Krishna Balaram, they'll come to that Narendra Pukur, and they have a wonderful festival for them. They take them on boats because this is the hot season. And so they take them around there's an island in the middle of Narendra Sarovar. They take them around on boats around that island. Then they bring them onto the island and they do an abhishek for them. And traditionally, different Devi Dasis was a big part of the Devi Dasi tradition. They would perform different dances and songs and things. Still to this day, they have fireworks every night, and they have different kirtans and things that go on during this festival. And for these 21 days, Madan Mohan wears what they call Chandan Vesh. And there's 21 different dresses. And we have an email magazine we call Sri Krishna Katamrita Bindu. And some years ago, 2-3 years ago, we made an issue just dedicated to Chandan Yatra, and in particular the 21 dresses of Madan Mohan, one of which, interestingly, is Sadbhuj Vesh. Madan Mohan dresses up like Chaitanya Mahaprabhu with 6 arms, because Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is non-different from Jagannath. So then during the second 21 days, because it's a period of 42 days, the Bitara Chandan, the deities are not taken outside, but they're put in brass pots that contain water with Chandan, and they're kept on something called the Jalakrita Mandap, which will be the same platform, because this Chandan Yatra is also, and Akshya Tritaya is the beginning of the Rath Yatra in different ways. We'll say a little something more about that in a moment. And on the day that we know of as Pandava Nirjala Ekadasi, there's a special festival called Rukmini Vivaha, on which Rukmini Devi, or Lakshmi Devi in this case, is married to Lord Jagannath. And that's 4 days before the Snan Yatra, Snan Purnima, when Jagannath comes out for his public bath, following which he becomes sick for 15 days, and Lakshmi Devi takes good care of him. She doesn't sleep at all until finally she falls asleep. And as soon as she falls asleep, their cloth from their wedding was still knotted together. As soon as Lakshmi Devi falls asleep, then Lord Jagannath unties the knot, and he leaves his wife who's asleep to go and see his girlfriends. And we call that Ratha Yatra. So that all begins with Chandan Yatra. And Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu also took part in that Chandan Yatra festival every year. And there's beautiful descriptions given in both the Ancha Leela of Chaitanya Charitamrita and in the Ancha Leela of Chaitanya Bhagavat. I'm not going to go in that direction right now, but it's a wonderful festival in which Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and his associates would go there, and not only would they observe and watch Lord Jagannath and Madhavananda in the form of Madhavananda during the Chandan Yatra festival, but they would all take bath in the Pukur at that time. And on one occasion, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu when these kind of things happen to me, I just pretend that I'm in India. It's working? Not working. Should I stop for a minute or should I just shout? Huh? Yeah. Hare Krishna. So also on this day is a festival which we're going to observe here at the temple today, and we'd like everybody to come and take part in that. And that's Sarat Ankul. That's when the chariots are beginning to be made. In our last issue, Krishna Katamrita Bindu, we wrote some article about Lord Jagannath and Goddess Charchika. And inside of the Jagannath temple office, just near the Jagannath Mandir, there's an ancient temple of Goddess Charchika. She's also has a form, original form you may say, near Kathak. And Goddess Charchika, she comes out to observe this ceremony in which they do some special puja to the wood that they've collected to build the chariots. And so these chariots they start the construction today. Those carpenters are considered to be descendants of Vishvakarma. And today, Madan Mohan will come out of the temple to observe. He'll go to Gajapati Maharaj's palace, right across from the Jagannath office, and he'll observe the wood that's been deposited there for the making of the carts. And then he'll give the king the agya, the order that they should start the chariots for Lord Jagannath. And then the king, Gajapati Maharaj, he'll appoint 3 different acharyas to supervise the building of the raths and the craftsmen who are going to do that. And they tie some prasadi cloth, some Gita Govinda Kandua around the head of those acharyas. And people in this way, they're giving some blessing to start doing this. Then they have a fire yagya, and the carpenters begin the actual work. Also, according to the Niladri Mohodoya, which is a Stala Purana about Jagannath, Akshaya Tritaya is also the day that they start collecting the wood for the carts, not for this year, but for the following year. And that's a long discussion. The Niladri Mohodoya gives a detailed description of how they're supposed to collect that wood. There's certain kings who do that. There's a certain acharya who does some different ceremonies and things. They offer some different chandan, sandalwood paste and things to the trees. And they begin to collect those trees. And then traditionally they would float them down the Mahanadi River. Today, a lot of that's changed. And they put them in large trucks. Some years ago, our Bhakta Rupa Prabhu started the Jagannath Forest project with the blessings of Gajapati Maharaj and some of the Pandas, and ISKCON began to grow trees for Lord Jagannath, and he was very successful with it. One of the problems they had was that the forests are used by the village people for their maintenance, and they're very poor, so he devised a system where they could have other means of income. They started making leaf plates and things so they could have some income, and educating the villagers that this forest is very special. This forest of saltwood, salt trees. This is the forest of Jagannath's trees. So they were very successful, so successful that the government of Orissa saw what they were doing and said, hey, we're going to take this over. And so they took that over. So anyway, these are a few things today. I'm finishing right on time about Akshya Tritaya and the Chandan Yatra Festival and Narendra Sarovar. So we can meditate on some of these things today. And here in this Krishna Balaram Mandir, which has the second most popular Chandan Yatra Festival in all of Orissa, we want to encourage everybody to please come and take part. And please come and take part in this festival this morning that we're going to have, where they begin to make the Rath Yatra carts. So one last small announcement. Is anyone interested in purchasing a wristwatch for a good price? Hare Krishna. Thank you very much. Shri Jagannath Baladev, Shrimati Subhadramai Sudarshan Ju Ke, Shri Chandan Yatra Maha Mahotsava Ke, Gaur Premanande, Vancha Kalpatarubhischa, Kripa Sindhu Vyevacha, Patitanam Pavanebhyo, Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Nanda Kori Vaishnavrinda Kircha.
Until the Agyamala goes, I have a question.
Okay.
So my question is, we see that Chandan Yatra is being observed on till 21 days. Lord will wear chandan on his whole body. So my question is that we are serving the Lord for the pleasure of their lordships. Sometimes when it is very cold, in between also in 21 days, it's raining sometimes it's, like yesterday night it was raining.
Yeah.
So generally we don't want the fan to be switched on when it's raining. We close the fan. But we put on chandan. So is it okay? Or
What do we do for that? It reminds me of a story about Srila Prabhupada. When Prabhupada once was in Australia, the devotees would give Prabhupada a massage every day. And Prabhupada told them to use mustard oil. Mustard oil is very heating. And it was getting a little cold, but some devotee thought, no, mustard oil is not good for Prabhupada. He should have chandan oil. Chandan oil is very first class. So they gave the devotee who was giving massage chandan oil. And they used that for Srila Prabhupada, and Prabhupada got a cold. He became sick. Because that chandan oil is very, very cooling. So in answer to your question, different Vaishnavas consider that in different ways. Some Vaishnavas, they consider that in the spiritual world it's always hot. In Jagannath, the temperature is always very nice. And it's very warm there this time of year. So Jagannath Madan Mohan wears sandalwood paste all year long. Other Vaishnavas consider, like you're saying, that it's too cold today, it's raining, how can we? So they may just put a little chandan on the Lord's forehead. But that's a matter which really is up to the pujaris, the temple president, in each different mutt. Is that okay? I don't want to get in trouble. All right. Okay. So thank you all very much. Srila Prabhupada Ki, Gaur Premanande Hari Hari Bol.